America's job market is deteriorating faster than most admit. In recent months, over 1.1 million jobs have been cut, a scale unseen since the Great Recession. Entire teams are disappearing, with salaries from $70,000 to $180,000 wiped out, and even seasoned professionals are being let go through impersonal automated emails. From tech giants to logistics firms, companies are slashing staff to cope with rising costs, weaker demand, and a crushing cost of living crisis. This isn't a temporary slowdown. It's the largest wave of layoffs the modern workforce has faced, and it's only beginning. Number 10 on the list, Walmart. For decades, Walmart has been the safety net for American families when money gets tight. A go-to store when paychecks don't stretch far enough, where groceries feel more affordable, everyday essentials are within reach, and budgets can be pushed just a little further. But by 2025, even Walmart is starting to feel the strain from the country's growing affordability crisis. When the company announced plans to cut 1,500 jobs, it wasn't just a routine reshuffle. It was a stark signal that deeper problems are emerging. These layoffs didn't affect store associates. They hit corporate staff, logistics planners, and internal operations teams, the very backbone roles responsible for coordinating shipments, managing inventory, and ensuring products reach more than 4,600 stores nationwide. These positions weren't low-paying. Many earned between $70,000 and $130,000 a year, providing a rare sense of stability in an increasingly unstable economy. Cutting them exposes the intense pressure building inside Walmart's supply chain, and the cause is clear. American households are running out of money. Food prices have surged, pinching families from every angle. Today, the typical Walmart shopper spends 15% to 22% more on basic groceries than they did just 3 years ago. Items like chicken, eggs, rice, cereal, and canned goods now cost noticeably more, turning a cart that once totaled $90 into one exceeding $120 with ease. When customers are forced to buy less, Walmart inevitably sells less, highlighting a reality that policymakers continue to downplay. The affordability crisis is spreading rapidly. Rising rent, soaring utility bills, and climbing medical expenses are forcing families into impossible financial choices. As shoppers tighten their spending to only the bare essentials, Walmart's profit margins shrink. In response, the retailer has invested hundreds of millions into automation, AI-powered inventory scanners, robotic pallet systems, automated sorting lines, and machine-assisted packing technologies, all designed to reduce reliance on human labor. The 1,500 job cuts are projected to save the company tens of millions each year, a step executives see as necessary as economic pressures mount. For workers, however, the consequences are crushing. Many devoted decades to the company, only to be replaced by algorithms, robots, and cost-cutting systems. And the impact goes beyond the employees themselves. When Walmart, the store synonymous with serving struggling Americans, begins slashing jobs while prices continue to rise, it sends a sobering message. The affordability crisis isn't slowing down, it's accelerating. These layoffs mark a turning point, the moment the nation's once cheap store became too costly to operate in an America that is increasingly financially strained. Number 9. Boeing. Once celebrated as the crown jewel of American engineering, Boeing symbolized aerospace dominance, bold innovation, and high-skilled manufacturing jobs that supported middle-class families. For decades, it stood as proof that American industry could build world-class machines while paying real wages for real expertise. But in 2025, that image suffered another serious blow. When the company announced roughly 2,500 job cuts, it wasn't a simple reshuffling of staff. It was another visible fracture in a business already under years of pressure. These layoffs didn't target entry-level or junior roles. Instead, they struck at the heart of the organization. Engineers, quality inspectors, aerospace specialists, and safety analysts. Many of these professionals earned between $85,000 and $145,000 a year. Cutting talent at this level signals far more than routine cost trimming. Boeing is still dealing with the financial fallout from production delays, supply chain breakdowns, and billions of dollars in penalties tied to an ongoing aircraft safety crisis. Over the years, the company has absorbed more than $31 billion in cumulative losses, and by 2025, the The strain intensified as new aircraft orders slowed and regulatory scrutiny tightened. While defense contracts remain steady, commercial aviation, the core of Boeing's business, has been bleeding money. The most concerning layoffs came from teams directly responsible for aircraft testing and quality assurance. Entire groups tasked with validating bolts, sensors, wiring systems, and structural components were downsized or eliminated, precisely the areas where mistakes can cost lives and trigger massive lawsuits. Leadership insists that automation and streamlined processes will offset the lost manpower, but the reality is simpler. Boeing is under extreme financial pressure and is cutting payroll to save tens of millions of dollars each year. For thousands of employees, this wasn't just another layoff notice. It was the sudden end of careers built on engineering pride, national identity, and decades of loyalty. Many had dedicated the majority of their adult lives to the company, only to be told their roles were being phased out. Severance packages offer little solace when set against the scale of the company's troubles. For the country, the impact is significant. Boeing has long been a symbol of American innovation, and deep cuts to its workforce send a warning far beyond the aerospace sector. Commercial aviation often serves as an economic bellwether. Planes aren't ordered when companies anticipate a downturn, and airlines don't expand when demand weakens. Boeing doesn't trim high-income engineering talent unless the foundation beneath it is starting to crack. These 2,500 job cuts are more than a corporate restructuring. They're a clear sign that America's industrial backbone is under serious strain. Number 8. General Motors. The iconic automaker, long credited with helping build America's middle class, entered 2025 facing a stark and uncomfortable reality. The much-touted shift to electric vehicles, once hailed as a trillion-dollar growth engine, has collided with serious financial challenges. Consumer interest in EVs has been uneven. Battery costs remain high, financing is still expensive due to elevated interest rates, and unsold electric vehicles are stacking up on dealer lots. Amid this turmoil, GM announced plans to cut 3,420 jobs, a painful restructuring aimed at saving hundreds of millions while the company recalibrates its strategy. These layoffs didn't just hit factory workers. Engineering teams, administrative departments, and a variety of white-collar roles tied directly to EV programs were affected. Many employees earned between $90,000 and $160,000 a year, working on battery technology, software integration, and next-generation drivetrain systems. When a company starts trimming highly skilled workers tied to its future products, the message is clear. Financial pressure has become unsustainable. Since 2021, GM has invested over $35 billion into electric vehicle development, yet the returns have fallen far short. Dealerships are overwhelmed with unsold inventory, while production costs remain too high to compete with lower-priced EVs coming out of China. Every idle vehicle on a lot costs thousands of dollars to maintain. At the same time, consumer finances are weakening. With auto loan delinquency rates climbing above 7.3%, many Americans are effectively priced out of new vehicles costing $48,000 to $65,000. GM isn't seizing opportunity, it's reacting to fear. Fear that continued losses in the EV segment could spiral into far deeper financial trouble. For longtime employees, the impact has been devastating. Many devoted decades to the company, believing the EV transition would secure their careers, only to watch their roles disappear as automation, software consolidation, and aggressive budget cuts swept through departments once considered untouchable. GM's layoffs reveal a sobering reality. America's auto industry is entering a self-inflicted recession. And when one of the nation's largest employers begins cutting thousands of highly skilled workers, the ripple effects extend far beyond the company, spreading across states, suppliers, and the entire manufacturing ecosystem. Number 7. IBM Corporation. One of America's oldest and most recognizable technology giants, IBM has long been associated with computing breakthroughs, enterprise systems, and highly skilled, knowledge-driven workforces. For decades, it represented stability at the top end of the tech sector. But in 2025, that image took a sharp turn. IBM announced 2,700 job cuts, part of a sweeping push toward AI-powered automation and stricter cost controls. These weren't the kinds of layoffs seen in retail or manufacturing. The cuts hit highly skilled white-collar roles, cloud engineers, cybersecurity specialists, data architects, and enterprise consultants. Many of these positions paid between $95,000 and $180,000 a year, firmly placing them in the upper tier of the workforce. IBM's leadership has been unusually candid about the shift, acknowledging that automation is replacing human labor faster than employees can realistically be retrained. The company has poured billions into generative AI tools and enterprise automation platforms, expected to eliminate up to 30% of internal workloads. Financially, cutting nearly 3,000 salaries saves IBM more than $250 million annually. But the deeper implication is far more unsettling. Even highly skilled analytical roles once considered untouchable are now vulnerable. The layoffs were concentrated in divisions tied to legacy technologies, areas where IBM once held dominant market share. As customers migrate to lower-cost cloud competitors and AI-assisted services, the company has been forced into aggressive restructuring. Slower contract cycles, weaker software demand, and rising operational costs left IBM little room to maneuver. Inside the company, the emotional toll has been significant. Many affected employees had spent 10, 20, or even 25 years building careers at IBM, only to be displaced by the very technologies they helped develop. For an older workforce, re-entering the job market is especially challenging, with younger, lower-cost, AI-native talent creating fierce competition. IBM's layoffs reveal a stark reality. A white-collar recession is taking shape. Highly educated professionals who once believed they were insulated are now subject to efficiency models that prioritize algorithms over experience. These 2,700 job cuts aren't isolated. They're part of a larger transformation reshaping the American workforce, where even elite tech careers can vanish almost overnight. Number 6. Microsoft. In 2025, Microsoft shook the technology world by announcing 6,000 job cuts. This is a company valued at nearly $3 trillion, one of the wealthiest organizations in history. And yet, even at that scale, it chose to eliminate thousands of positions at once, a stark signal of how intense the financial pressures in tech have become. These weren't entry-level or expendable roles. Microsoft targeted top-tier talent: engineers, cloud architects, cybersecurity experts, product managers, and AI researchers. Many held salaries ranging from roughly $120,000 to over $220,000 a year. These professionals are the ones who build and maintain the digital infrastructure that underpins the modern world. Azure cloud systems, enterprise security platforms, and software used by millions of businesses and individuals all depend on their work. Cuts at this level indicate a restructuring hitting the highest layers of the company. The reasoning behind the layoffs is both simple and unsettling. Microsoft has invested more than $10 billion into embedding artificial intelligence across its ecosystem, with billions more poured into data centers, GPUs, and massive computing clusters. Operating costs have soared. Single GPU farms can cost hundreds of millions, and training one AI model iteration alone can run $50 to $100 million. Something had to give, and it wasn't executive pay. These layoffs are part of a broader internal recalibration aimed at protecting profit margins as global economic growth slows. For employees, the human toll has been severe. Many learned their fate through abrupt calendar invites labeled business update, a modern euphemism now associated with dread. Numerous affected workers had spent over a decade at Microsoft, contributing to cornerstone products like Windows, Office, and Azure, only to see their careers end in minutes. Timing couldn't be worse. Interest rates remain high, corporate customers are reducing software renewals, and enterprise contracts are taking longer to close. Beneath the numbers lies a harsher reality. AI is beginning to replace the very engineers who built it. Internal AI co-pilots now handle testing, debugging, documentation, and even software maintenance, tasks that once required entire teams of developers. These 6,000 job cuts go far beyond routine restructuring. They are a warning that the white-collar job market is entering a far more volatile and uncertain era, where even elite tech positions are no longer safe. Number 5. Salesforce. In 2025, the cloud CRM powerhouse stunned the tech world by announcing 4,000 job cuts. For a company generating over $34 billion in annual revenue, This wasn't a move for survival. It was a calculated shift to lean more heavily on artificial intelligence while reducing the human labor behind its massive software empire. The layoffs targeted customer support teams, sales operations, cloud consulting groups, and so-called non-critical engineering roles. Many of the affected employees earned between $95,000 and $180,000 a year, with a significant portion working remotely. Salesforce had long cultivated a reputation as the Ohana Company, a workplace built around family and belonging. In 2025, however, that family was downsized with precision and efficiency. At the heart of the decision is AI automation. Salesforce has poured billions into Einstein GPT, a platform capable of drafting emails, generating customer support responses, managing CRM workflows, forecasting revenue, and even analyzing customer sentiment. In practice, AI now performs the work of thousands of employees at a fraction of the cost. Running these systems isn't cheap, but by replacing human labor, Salesforce expects to save more than $300 million annually. At the same time, demand from small and mid-sized businesses has softened. Rising interest rates mean software subscriptions, especially those priced between $25 and $300 per user each month, are often the first expenses to be cut. Renewal cycles slowed, deal sizes shrank, and the warning signs became impossible to ignore. Inside the company, the emotional impact has been profound. Employees once praised for top performance suddenly found their roles deemed non-essential. Slack channels filled with disbelief, frustration, and anxiety. A corporate culture long celebrated for warmth and inclusivity now felt cold, mechanical, and surgical. The ripple effects extend far beyond Salesforce itself. Thousands of consultants, agencies, and technology partners rely on the Salesforce ecosystem. When the company contracts, the economic network around it tightens as well. These layoffs highlight a stark truth. Even the most innovative companies are no longer investing in growing human workforces. They're expanding AI capabilities instead. In 2025, that transition is coming at the expense of real people and their livelihoods. Number 4. Verizon Communications. Incomi. Verizon's announcement of 15,000 job cuts in 2025 wasn't just significant, it was a shockwave. As one of the largest telecommunications employers in the United States, serving over 100 million customers who rely on its networks daily, this move was unprecedented in scale, with layoffs not seen since the early 2000s. The reductions swept across multiple departments: network maintenance crews, customer service teams, retail staff, cybersecurity units, corporate support functions, and even mid-level management. Employees earning between $55,000 and $130,000 were among the hardest hit. Entire teams were restructured or eliminated as Verizon sought to slash payroll by hundreds of millions of dollars, with total savings expected to exceed $1.2 billion annually, a clear sign of mounting financial stress. The underlying issue is relentless pressure on Verizon's balance sheet. The company has invested billions in expanding 5G coverage, upgrading fiber networks, and modernizing infrastructure. A single year of 5G deployment can cost $8 to $10 billion, yet consumer demand hasn't grown fast enough to justify that level of investment. At the same time, competition is intensifying. Cable providers and lower-cost wireless carriers are steadily eroding Verizon's market share, and rising household costs are pushing consumers toward cheaper plans. While Verizon's premium offerings range from $65 to $90 per month, competitors lure customers with plans as low as $25 to $35. Faced with shrinking revenue, Verizon made aggressive internal cuts to protect profit margins. For employees, the human toll has been harsh. Many spent 15 to 25 years with the company, working their way from entry-level positions into supervisory roles. Some learned of their termination through brief video calls, receiving little warning and no sense of closure. These weren't abstract corporate roles. They were the people responsible for maintaining America's communications infrastructure, ensuring networks stayed online during storms, outages, and national emergencies. Overnight, many of them were suddenly without jobs. Verizon's layoffs underscore a sobering reality. Even industries considered essential are no longer immune. When a company so deeply intertwined with daily American life eliminates 15,000 positions, It signals more than cost-cutting. It's a restructuring born of anxiety over a much tougher economic road ahead. Number 3. Intel Corporation. In 2025, Intel announced 20,000 job cuts, marking one of the largest downsizing events the U.S. tech sector has ever seen. This isn't a struggling startup or a fading retail chain. This is Intel, a company that once commanded nearly 80% of the global CPU market, now forced to slash tens of thousands of highly skilled roles just to remain competitive in an industry undergoing seismic change. The layoffs hit deep into Intel's core operations. Chip designers, fabrication plant workers, systems architects, supply chain managers, and R&D specialists were all affected. Many earned between $110,000 and $190,000 annually. For decades, Intel employees believed their positions were essentially recession-proof, protected by America's insatiable demand for processors. That sense of security has been shattered. The harsh reality is that Intel is losing money while trying to keep pace with rivals like TSMC and NVIDIA. The company has invested more than $25 billion in building and upgrading chip fabrication facilities across the U.S., part of a plan to restore semiconductor leadership to American soil. But building and running advanced chip plants is brutally expensive. A single state-of-the-art facility can cost $15 to $20 billion, with billions more needed to operate it efficiently. Delays, engineering setbacks, and production yield issues caused massive cost overruns, testing Wall Street's patience. Meanwhile, the rise of AI computing shifted market power toward GPU-focused companies. NVIDIA's valuation surged past $3 trillion, while Intel's stock lagged behind younger, once smaller competitors. That imbalance pressured Intel leadership to prioritize efficiency, corporate speak for cutting payroll. Inside the company, the human toll has been severe. Engineers who designed chips powering laptops, servers, satellites, and military systems suddenly found themselves unemployed in a tech market already saturated with laid-off talent. For many, entire careers spanning 15, 20, or even 30 years ended with a single HR email. The impact rippled far beyond Intel's offices. Suppliers and partner companies felt the consequences immediately. When Intel cuts 20,000 jobs, it doesn't just downsize, it sends shockwaves through manufacturing hubs in Arizona, Oregon, New Mexico, and Ohio. These regions rely heavily on Intel for employment, contracts, and local economic activity. Losing thousands of six-figure salaries drains billions from regional economies almost overnight. Intel's layoffs send a stark warning. America's battle for semiconductor dominance is far from over, and even one of the nation's most iconic tech giants is paying an extraordinarily painful price to stay in the fight. Number 2. UPS. In 2025, UPS shocked the American labor market by announcing 48,000 job cuts. This wasn't a tech company quietly trimming overhead. This was one of the nation's largest employers, eliminating a workforce larger than many U.S. cities almost overnight. When UPS removes nearly 50,000 positions, it signals a profound shift in one of America's economic pillars: logistics. The layoffs touched nearly every part of the operation: package handlers, delivery drivers, supervisors, dispatchers, warehouse staff, and mid-level managers. Many of these roles were unionized, paid between $45,000 and $95,000 annually, and came with strong benefits. These were reliable, middle-class jobs, precisely the kind leaders promised to protect and rebuild. And yet, they vanished. Officially, UPS cites restructuring and automation, but the reality runs deeper. Financial pressure combined with declining demand. The company has poured billions into advanced automation, robotic sorting systems costing $250 million per facility, AI-powered scanning tools, driver assist software, and fully automated warehouse robots. Each system reduces the need for human labor. UPS expects these cuts to save more than $3 billion annually, a staggering figure that highlights how aggressively machines are replacing people. Timing also reveals broader economic strain. Package volumes have fallen as Americans pull back on online shopping. Inflation is squeezing household budgets, and discretionary spending has dropped sharply, draining billions from e-commerce growth. As revenue forecasts slipped, executives acted swiftly to protect profit margins by eliminating tens of thousands of workers. Inside UPS, the human toll has been intense. Many employees built their lives around long-term stability. Drivers spent years mastering routes, developing customer relationships, and enduring physically demanding work, only to be displaced by automation and cost-cutting strategies. The impact extends far beyond UPS itself. Local communities feel the shock deeply, as UPS hubs serve as economic engines supporting nearby restaurants, gas stations, small businesses, and contractors. When 48,000 jobs disappear, entire regions are affected. UPS's mass layoffs deliver a sobering message. Even essential industries like shipping, delivery, and logistics are no longer immune. Automation is advancing faster than expected, and the workers who kept America moving for decades are now the ones being pushed aside. Number 1. Amazon. In 2025, Amazon confirmed 14,000 layoffs, with projections suggesting the total could reach 30,000, making it one of the most aggressive workforce reductions of the year. For the second-largest private employer in the United States, cutting tens of thousands of roles is more than a routine reorganization. It's a clear warning about the direction of American work. The job cuts are concentrated in corporate and technical positions, spanning AWS teams, logistics planning, retail operations, advertising, and AI development. Many affected employees earned between $120,000 and $210,000 annually, with some holding leadership roles overseeing business units worth billions. The message is unmistakable. No team, title, or department is safe. Behind the scenes, Amazon is reshaping itself on an unprecedented scale. The company has invested more than $50 billion in AI, cloud infrastructure, and automated fulfillment. A single robotic fulfillment center can cost anywhere from $30 million to $500 million, and Amazon now operates dozens of them. These facilities run with a fraction of the human workforce, replacing jobs once handled by thousands of people with machines that never rest, never get sick, and never ask for raises. At the same time, Amazon's retail business is showing signs of strain. Consumers are pulling back on non-essential purchases, and cart abandonment rates are rising. When millions of shoppers stop buying $29 gadgets and $49 home items, profit margins shrink quickly. Cutting up to 30,000 salaries saves billions just as revenue growth slows. The emotional impact has been profound. Employees describe the layoff process as abrupt, impersonal, and clinical, often learning of their termination the same moment their system access was cut off. Many had devoted years to meeting Amazon's famously demanding standards, only to be dismissed without warning or ceremony. The broader message is clear. When the company that helped define modern e-commerce begins eliminating corporate jobs at this scale, it signals a rapidly intensifying economic downturn and the rise of an AI-driven workforce replacing humans at unprecedented speed. These layoffs aren't just numbers. They're a preview of the emerging American economy, automated, efficiency-obsessed, and increasingly unforgiving to workers.